What's up, everyone? I'm assuming you clicked on this video to improve your crosshair placement, which is why I'm going to show you some things that'll help. Covering 3 main topics, including map knowledge, spray patterns, and your sensitivity. I know it might not seem like much, but there's a few subtopics within each we're going to get into. Alright, moving right into map knowledge. There's a few things I want to take a closer look at in this topic, like elevation, pre-aiming, and active versus reactive aiming. So let's jump in. Looking more specifically at elevation, here's a perfect example on Haven. I hear footsteps at A short, and I also know there's a big elevation difference from where I am, which is why I position my crosshair so low before peeking. Another thing to keep in mind is that some agents do have verticality in their kits. Regardless, having good map knowledge will help you with knowing where to position your crosshair. Next, we're going to go over pre-aiming. This technique is used effectively on common angles. So here, I'm starting in hookah, waiting for the barrier to go down. As soon as it goes down, I know that my opponents are going to be coming out of the archway I mark it. I'm going to position my crosshair roughly where they're going to be, and this goes back to map knowledge as well. The more you know the map, the easier it's going to be for you to know where to put your crosshair. So just like this, I can just jiggle it, or I can come out and swing, play for a shot. But this is because my crosshair is preemptively being aimed at where they're going to be. Obviously, pre-aiming doesn't just apply to spawn killing. I could be holding B site here as Cypher with, say, some tripwires and hookah, and if I want to just jiggle it, maybe I could just do this, jiggle. But my crosshair is already where they're going to be. If they are there and my tripwire goes off, I know that when I peek out, they're going to be in my crosshair. So lastly, I want to talk about active versus reactive aiming. If I'm trying to enter B site here on Haven, I want to clear this right angle. So maybe I smoke up this close left angle and then smoke up the right doorway. I'm not going to enter the site assuming that he's up in the top right. I'm going to actively swing with my crosshair clearing that angle. I'm not going to react to him being there or assume that he is there. I want to clear the whole angle where he could possibly be. He could be anywhere from here to this far right corner. So I'm going to actively clear this corner with my crosshair and not just my eyes or being a reaction. So say somebody was right here to the left of this little box. You don't want to be doing this. You want to be doing this. Moving forwards, we're going to look at spray patterns, including aiming down sights versus hip firing, crouching and standing, and moving while shooting. This is just something short and simple, but I did want to demonstrate that when you aim down sights, your fire rate is decreased, but your vertical recoil is reduced. As you can see, my crosshair didn't move from the initial position, but you can see when I ADS, my recoil wasn't as intense vertically, versus when I hip fired, it was much higher. Now we're looking directly at the spray patterns. Each gun has its own unique spray pattern, but what's unique to it is actually only the vertical spray. I'll show you how this works. So here we're looking at a quick example. Here's the Spectre spray. And now we'll look at the Vandal. So you can see how it was much more extreme in the vertical sense. Spectre is only up to here, whereas the Vandal went up to all the way to here. So now that we know the vertical spray is the only thing that's actually unique to the gun, that is what we need to train our muscle memory for. Once we get good at controlling the initial spray down of each gun, then we can control the left and right movements of the gun, which is actually random. So here we can see we can counter the initial vertical recoil by pulling down our mouse. And then it's going to start to sway left to right. In this left to right movement, we can watch with our peripheral view of our gun. Our gun will lead which direction it's going to go, and with this, we can counter this gun's movement with our mouse. For example, down, mouse left, right, left, right. Let's counter this now. And we can see how much more compact our bullets are. This is going to keep our shots way more consistent, leading us to hit more shots. And I know I'm not the best at this yet either, but the more you practice this, the better it's going to be. So if you're new to the FPS genre, you're going to quickly realize that shooting and moving is not good together. But if we use the crouching mechanic, it can be somewhat viable, and I'll show you that. So you can see standing up and shooting, and I'm going to aim for this little white paper. It's not going to hit very well. You can see you can pretty much not control that spray at all. Whereas if you're crouching, your bullets will be much more accurate, and if you did play CS, you might know this already. Finally, we're going to take a look at your sensitivity. And the first thing I want to say about this is not to take somebody else's sense because they're good. Everyone has a personal preference on the sensitivity they use, and the best way to find what's good for you is what feels the most comfortable while being able to control it. With that being said, some more specific things within your sense that I'm going to be discussing is understanding your sense, consistency within your sense, and micro flicking. Let's jump in. Understanding your sensitivity can be difficult. It can depend on the game you're playing, which of course is Valorant here in this case, type of playstyle you want to present. Some people want it to look like they have an insane flick shot where they might have a higher sense and they just stop on the head and want it to look cool. And then there's the whole debate with high sense versus the low sense. Quickly talking about Valorant and how this relates to your sensitivity, you don't want to be putting yourself in situations where you're getting shot in the back and you have to flick yourself around 180 degrees and hope to hit them in the head before they kill you. So say somebody's coming around this corner. Optimally, you want to have the least amount of adjusting to do with your crosshair because this leads to the least amount of room for error. This is reflected in overshooting or undershooting, which is why I believe more commonly a lot of CS players and now Valorant players are going to be playing on a lower sense. You ideally want to have to correct your mouse placement to the least amount possible to hit them in the head. So if you have a lower sense, these micro adjustments will be easier. That's why I don't think a high sense is going to be great for Valorant. Talking about consistency and a lower sense versus a higher sense. There are pros and cons to both. A lower sense provides more consistency, where a small tremor in your hand won't be noticed as much as if you're in a higher sense. While consistency is good, of course, you have to move your arm in further distances. This brings aim fatigue along with a hit to mobility. Higher sensitivities are much less consistent, but allow more mobility with less distance for your arm to travel, resulting in less aim fatigue. So you will need to find a balance between both, a sense that allows you to be mobile enough to be able to turn 180 degrees if somebody's behind you, but also have control at long distances. Finally, taking a look at microflicks. These are used to slightly adjust your crosshair's position if someone peeks into the angle you're watching. For a game like Valorant, these are the aim adjustments you're going to be using most frequently on like tracking for example. Understanding, along with having consistency in your sense, will benefit your microflicking enormously. Being comfortable with your sense and not having to think about how much adjustment you need. Overthinking your adjustment will result in undershooting or overshooting. Either we can't catch up to the enemy or we overcompensate and shoot too far ahead. With that being said, the range offer is a very valuable tool to practice this. Just put on hard mode, put the infinite ammo on, start this up. Keep your crosshair in the middle and focus on the ones that are spawning close to your crosshair. Imagine that you are holding an angle right now, and if somebody peeks that angle, you're going to correct your crosshair and adjust to their head. Now of course, this was just an example, as the range brings a lot of helpful tools so we can practice with. With all this being said, I hope you found this video somewhat helpful, as I've tried to cover everything that I believe will help you improve with your crosshair positioning. If you felt I missed anything, or would want me to cover anything specifically like this in another video, feel free to let me know in the comments. But thank you for watching, and I'm out. Peace.